Hello, beautiful creature. I am here today to help you find some ways that you can start your day in a more peaceful and more energized way. Super important, especially when you're a mom, but also could be difficult or you feel like it might be difficult to do. I promise you it's not impossible, and I'm here to show you 5 simple tips to help you get there. First, if you don't know me, hi, I'm Valerie, and I work with women who are kind of in that transition phase of just having become a mom, maybe 2 years out, and they're seeing the world in a different way. You're asking yourself, who am I now with this mother role? The things I thought were important before are maybe not as important now. And how do I reconcile my old life with my new life? And what is this body, this new body that I have? And what are these new, ways of looking at the world and prioritizing things? And maybe I don't want to work in the job that I thought I loved, and all of the things. What is my purpose? Where do I go now? That's where I come in as your humble guide in leading you to a path of your intuition, your purpose, your soul's mission. And even when you have your kids who are small and who are with you most of the time. So that's where I come in. And in today's episode, I want to focus on something that seems really maybe intangible, but I want to bring it down into more tangible tools for you. And I can relate. I used to start the day, when my daughter was young, baby to toddler, even up to 5 years, and I had a very stressful job, I would wake up with heart palpitations, genuinely like feeling like I was having an anxiety attack. That's how I would wake up. And I would think, if I get ahead of my email, or if I get ahead of, I brain dump all the things into my task list, or I check on what my boss might have sent me overnight, or things like that, I felt like then I can get a jump on the day. But the truth is, and I had years of this experience, the truth is I would actually start the day just extremely stressed out, feeling like I was behind, feeling like there were a bunch of things I couldn't control and couldn't do anything about. If I checked the news or listened to NPR on the way to work, it was even worse. It added a whole nother layer. And I've come to realize, and would love to gift you this realization, that starting my day by not checking in with my systems, and I'm going to go through those systems with you, was really a disservice to myself and actually made me more stressed throughout the day, more tired, more behind, more overwhelmed. So if you can relate, this episode is for you. Overall, I want to just give you permission. I want to give you permission to check in with yourself, to be yourself, to go after your heart's desire, to find your soul's mission, to really live out and embody your dreams, even when you're a mom. Moms should not have to sacrifice themselves for their families or their kids. You are the most important person in their life, but if you give up yourself in that process, what do you have? What do they have, really, but a mirror? And yes, part of your role is to mirror, but really seeing an example of a strong, empowered, anchored woman in their lives is probably the best gift you can give them. So overall, permission granted for you to do that, to go on that journey. So I can relate. I can relate to whatever you're thinking in your mind, like, oh, well, my 4-year-old comes in at 5 a.m. and kicks me until it's time to get out of bed, or my kid screams in his bed until I come in there in the morning, or all my kids are jumping on the bed before I'm even awake, or I'm getting up early so I can pack lunches and I can be ready for the day when they get up, and then I'm hurrying them out of bed. I can relate to all of those things. I have done all of those things. I sometimes still have to do those things. Of course, you can't control when kids are going to wake up if they are earlier than the alarm clock says. So I can totally relate. And I want to give you just like grace for yourself. If that is your situation one day, that does not mean that your whole routine or something you're trying to establish in your life is ruined. It means that you just kind of need to take a deep breath and say, okay, I will start again tomorrow. That's all. So whatever you're thinking, I want you to just set that aside for today and just listen to these things and take what resonates. Maybe not all 5 will work for you. Maybe you'll build on one and then the other. But yeah, just take what works for you. The very first thing I would say is to connect to yourself. And this might seem kind of ethereal, but there are tangible ways to do this. When you're in that kind of first waking moment of the day, you are the most close. You're the closest. When you're in that first waking moment of the day, you are the closest to your soul. You're the closest to the spirit, to the dream world. You're the closest to the unconscious mind, all the things that have happened in your life, that have happened recently, those are being processed in the night. And as you wake up, and you probably know this if you kind of wake up gently or on the days that you can, in that first 5 or 10 minutes, that is such a precious time to really think about and remember the things that are coming to mind. So connecting to yourself, either through, there are millions of ways you can do this, through silent inquiry and kind of trying to remember what is coming up, through writing down anything that's bubbling up at the surface, through meditation, through a slow movement practice, anything that helps you kind of question and inquire within, can really set you up for peace, because you are connected to source and your soul's energy, and can set you up for an energized day because you're connecting to something that really truly matters and not what any other input is telling you is important. So that's the number 1 tip. Connect to yourself. And the second tip goes hand in hand with that, which is no input from the external world when you first wake up. And I would say even for the first few hours, if you can do it. Even if you have just 30 minutes or an hour, that will be so helpful. So no news, no social media, no, task list that someone else has given you, nothing. If you can start your day by taking your own input, so what you did in step 1, listening to yourself, and then taking that input and starting your day from there, that will give you so much of a natural high, so much of a natural buzz that you might forget, and maybe to the demise of your bake sale at school or your boss's question or whatever, but you will have so much more natural energy, and that kind of energy comes from a different source than the kind of anxious energy that comes from other people's to-do lists and other people's tasks for you. So if you can think about the way that you might start your day, if you start your day by checking Instagram or checking Facebook or checking your email or listening to the news, that can immediately set you up on kind of like level 11 in terms of anxiety. It's all the things. It's what they want from you. It's what's happening in the world that you can't control. We weren't meant to take in all of the news from the whole world and process it through our bodies. If there's something going on with your own family, with your own community, with your friends, that's different. But taking in everything in the world right when you wake up is just not how we were built. We haven't adapted to that, and I don't think we ever will. Who knows? But we definitely have not adapted to that kind of the 24-hour news and the global news all at our fingertips all the time. Not to mention then the opinions of people on social media and everything they're processing and then spitting into your face first thing in the morning. So just do yourself a favor and give yourself that first hour at least after you wake up of just listening to yourself. The third tip is to nourish yourself. And nourish can be taken in many different ways. I think a warm drink, a warm matcha latte in my case, is the thing that I love the most first thing in the morning. A high protein, complex carbohydrate breakfast is something that's super nourishing. A really gentle herbal tea or gentle caffeine in the morning is so nourishing for the system, especially after, not having eaten or drank for 8 to 12 hours before. So for women, the intermittent fasting trend that's going on right now, and I used to be a fitness and nutrition coach. I'm not anymore, but I will say the intermittent fasting and the research that I've seen for women is very mixed. So I know it's been more working for men, but for women, I would say starting your morning with something nourishing for your body is actually going to help you stay sustained and help you stay energized throughout the day much better. And I can go a little bit more into that in a different video. On that level, caffeine, I've noticed there's different types of caffeine. So there's obviously like caffeinated teas, black tea and green tea. And then there's the caffeine that comes from coffee, and there's the caffeine that comes from cacao and chocolate. There's different types, and that affects your system differently. And coffee has really been the choice caffeine for many people for many decades. And I think that it just goes hand in hand with capitalism. And that is a perfect drug for capitalism to keep the machine working, to keep it cranking, to keep it high energy. When it crashes, you just have more and you can just kind of ride the whole day. And not to mention just all the havoc it wreaks on your sleep and on your appetite and on your whole system. I love coffee. I still drink it. I mostly decaf. But when I switched to matcha a few years ago, I noticed that the energy was so sustained throughout the day. There wasn't a crash at all. It was much more, I guess, because you're ingesting the whole leaf of the tea, it's a much more sustained kind of energy. I would challenge you to observe how the caffeine that you ingest is affecting you long term or over the day. And if coffee is the one, then it's the one, but maybe play around with some other teas and see how that works for your system. It could end up being the one that you stick with and that feels more aligned as a woman. Okay, the fourth tip is moving your body. And the first thing you have to do before you move your body is just check in. Honestly, just 1 to 2 minutes of deep breath, putting your hands on your body in a really gentle way, somewhere that feels vital. So usually for me, it's my heart or my stomach or even lower around my womb. And that is where I can really feel my life force and my energy. And I'll just kind of breathe slowly and gently for a few minutes. And then I'll ask my body, what do you need today? And these days, my body's really craving long walks and some weight training. So I've been doing that on and off, kind of alternating days, or sometimes I'll do it in the same day. Once in a while, I really love a long yoga class, but not like the workouts that I used to have in my late 20s and early 30s. That was much more boot camp, HIIT inspired, high intensity. That my body's really never asking for that anymore. And I try to honor what it wants. So if I don't have time to do my movement in the morning, I'll just take it down to the floor for a couple minutes and just kind of stretch my joints out, because as I get older, I realize I need that after I sleep. So I'll just kind of wake up my spine, wake up my hips, give myself a little stretch and a little love, and then I'll move on to maybe a walk later in the afternoon. Okay, we're already on the fifth tip, and that is setting yourself up to be aligned during the day. And by that, I mean, if you've done these other 4 things, connecting to yourself, nourishing yourself, moving your body, and no external input, you should have a pretty good sense of what you need and feel more aligned with your own desires, dreams, motivations, tasks that you need to do. So, setting yourself up, and whether that's writing your priority for the day and the tasks underneath, whether that's scheduling or rescheduling things that you're actually have determined are deprioritized for that day. I do that a lot, honestly. If there's something during the day that I've already scheduled and I realize on that morning that's not going to fit into my energetic realm right now, I will reschedule it. And sometimes that's hard and I have let people down, but honestly, it's what protects my energy the most, is spending the few precious hours that I have to myself for work while my kids are in school to focus on what I need to do to achieve peace and the most energized version of myself. And then the final thing under that is just having a clear space. So at the end of this kind of routine, and sometimes I get things done like first thing in the morning before my kids wake up, and then I'm kind of doing like the nourish yourself while they're having their breakfast, and then I'm doing the movement maybe after drop off before work if I have time. But anyway, after these 4 things have been done, I am clearing whatever space I'm going to be in for the day. So I work from home. That means clearing the space that I work in and trying to compartmentalize maybe other parts of the house that need attention, but I just don't have the time. If it's my kids' rooms, I'm waiting for them to get home and tackle it with them. If it's the kitchen, maybe I'm taking a lunch break and doing that at that time. So just clearing my space helps just kind of awaken more of my own energy in that space and not suck it into, oh God, this needs to be tidied or this needs to be vacuumed or whatever it might be. So that really helps set the tone for an aligned day. Okay, so those are the 5 tips. I'm going to give you one bonus tip, and that is go to bed early the night before. You still need 8 to 9 hours of sleep. I know you're a mom. I know that's difficult. Believe me, I have put my kids to bed and been like, but I just want to watch my own show, or I just want to read my book, or I just want to hang out with my husband and have a drink, or whatever it might be. I totally can relate. However, I usually end up paying for that the next day or even the day after that if I stay up too late. So if I have to get up at 7, I know that I have to be asleep by 11. No question. And that's just a non-negotiable for me. Sleep is absolutely the most important thing for me to make sure I get during the night. And, you know, there's all kinds of biohacks and life hacks and sleeping optimization you can do these days. And fine, if that's your gig. Truthfully, I think that you already know what you can do for good sleep. You can eat well and not too close to bed. You can not drink alcohol. You can lower your stress, and these are ways to do that, some ways. You can move your body throughout the day, and just those 4 things alone. Oh, and not checking news or social media right before bed. Frankly, not even looking at your phone before bed. Those 5 things can really help you get to bed on time and have a restful night's sleep. So you already know. Just keep asking yourself. I know you know. All right, I hope these tips were really helpful. Again, connecting to yourself, nourishing yourself, no external input, move your body, and then set yourself up for aligned, right energy for you for the day. I hope to see you soon. Stay on my channel. I know you want to. There's more videos coming. Lots of love. Till then, bye.